Our Auburn Tigers need a win bad this weekend versus Mississippi State. Let's talk about it on this live edition of the Uptempo Podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Let's go, man. What's up? I'm your host, Dustin Smith, joined as always by my guy, Blake Lean. And look, Auburn might be on a 4-game losing streak, Blake, but me and you going to stay bringing the juice, brother. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Dustin. Doing well, man. Just really been doing a lot of thinking about this football team. And one thing I wanted to say tonight is I know things have been down bad, right? And we're searching for answers. And I just wanted to tell this fan base to stay supportive of this football team. And we see some guys coming out from this team that have told us in interviews that they have done with Auburn media that, hey, this locker room we're together. We're not giving up. All right. There's a stretch of 4 games that are right here within our grasp that we can take. All right. And we've seen that. We've watched these teams play. So I know it seems bad right now, and we're down because we want to win, man. We want to beat the Ole Misses. We want to beat the Georgias, the Texas A&M and the LSUs. But you look at the end goal, Dustin, in year 1, and we have an opportunity to get to that bowl game that we really want to get to. We have the opportunity to get those extra practices, all right? Those extra practices that'll help a Connor Lew. All right. Those extra practices that we need for recruiting. All right. You look at the kid from Tennessee last year, the freshman quarterback that come in. He showed up and practiced bowl practice with the team. He watched, he went through film and everything with the team. Bro, like that stuff matters. So making a bowl game is big for this program. And we have a vision. Coach Hugh Freeze has a vision. No matter how we got to do it, I know we'll talk about that in a minute. No matter how we got to do it, man, we got to get to that 6-win mark. And as a fan base, if we do get to that 6-win mark, you got to be excited because Hugh Freeze sits here and tells you that he can see it in recruiting that these kids, they're excited. They're not really looking at, hey, they're 3-4 right now. These kids ain't looking at that. They're looking at the future. They're looking at 2-3 years down the road saying, hey, we're going to have something. So I've been doing a lot of thinking on that, man, and a lot of reflection of, me being pissed off, Dustin, because we're 3-4, because I'm a diehard Auburn fan.
Right.
But at the end of the day, man, I got to look 10 steps ahead and into the future of what we possibly can be. And so I'm excited about that part. And we have a ginormous opportunity against Mississippi State, who they got Mike Wright and Will Rogers. And is Will Rogers healthy enough to play? It looks like he's going to play, but their offense hasn't really been doing a lot with Will Rogers this year. And I think there's opportunities there. We get them at home. I think that's huge. So, man, you get to 4-4 after Saturday, and then you got Vanderbilt. You could be sitting at 5-4. There's an opportunity, man. You only have to beat New Mexico State to get to 6 wins. And going to Arkansas, that's not even out of the question. We could win that game. We saw how poorly they played against Mississippi State last week, and they were at home. So I'm excited, Dustin, and I think we have a ginormous opportunity Saturday. I know these fans are going to bring it, and that's what excites me too, man. Like this fan base, no matter what, you were there Saturday night for Ole Miss. They bring it each and every Saturday, and that is why I love the Auburn Tigers, man.
Yeah, definitely need to bring it. And this is another SEC West foe, Blake, another team that we've played since 1992 every single year that is getting off the rotation this year. We don't play them next year. So I would like to get some of these. We missed opportunity versus A&M, and obviously they were a new addition, just joined the conference about a decade ago. But LSU, that one hurt. Ole Miss obviously is going to sting for a while. Mm-hmm. Let's get this one. And I know that you about a month ago, you had a nice little online run-in with Bulldog Nation over there, and they were trying to tell you that Auburn and Mississippi State are one and the same. And I think that's the thing that really gets to me, Blake, is that we're obviously in the worst stretch of Auburn football in our lifetime, and people of our age, of our generation, and guys are a little bit older, like Mike and Ike and all. They haven't never seen nothing like this, right? And so this is new to a lot of Auburn people, and all of a sudden we see the Ole Misses and the Mississippi State and the Arkansas fans now that we're finally down on their level, trying to tell us that this is where we've always been. Like, nah, this is new to us. We're not used to being down here with y'all. But now that we're down here with them, they want to act like, oh, well, yeah, we're right on par with you. No, this is an opportunity for us Saturday to at least let somebody know, no, brother, no, you're not. And we're not trying to go off on these losers. Mississippi State's had our number here for a little bit. Like I'm saying that. And over the last 8 to 10 years, it's been a competitive game, and they've got after us more than they have historically, more than they definitely need to be. So
it's 5-5, Dustin, over the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's not it, man. That's just not it. And that really kind of speaks to where this program has been headed. And but yeah, I'm not high on Mississippi State. You remember when I was before the season, I never was, just because of the change of personnel. And I know the situation was tough. I could be a lot harder on Zach Arnett because I am not a believer, but I don't want to be, because I mean, listen, bro, he's been thrown in a tough situation, and he very well might have been our DC if that whole thing didn't happen. Who knows how that would have played out? And I'm happy with Ron Roberts, but so it's a tough test for us. But we got to, like you said, the fans have got to bring it. I know after 4 straight losses, I know that after Saturday night was deflating. Like Blake said, I was there. I know it was pretty deflating the way it all went down. I heard what everybody was saying as in the stadium. I get it. I know at 3 o'clock or 2:30, whatever. Which was it, 2:30 or 3?
This Saturday?
Yeah,
2:30.
2:30. So yeah, I know it's not a night game, not as hype. Just make sure you bring it, man. The boys need it. And these next leading up to the Iron Bowl, these next 4 games that everyone's talked about being so winnable, Blake, I think this is a really important stretch for Auburn, and I think it's a really important stretch for Hugh Freeze. Yep. And not to say that if he doesn't do well in this, that he'll be on the hot seat or anything, but he has an opportunity now to kind of turn around some of these narratives and some of these questions that have arose in his first 7 games. And winning cures everything. You know that. You win this week, you win next week, all of a sudden you're 5-4, and people like me who have been critical of what's been going on will shut up. That's what winning does. So yeah, big opportunity for us, man. And I'm really excited. And like you, man, I kind of woke up today, I wouldn't say rejuvenated. I still don't think we're a good football team, obviously, but just not as pessimistic. I was saying, okay, here are the games that we can win. And I know that I have a role to play as a fan as well, just being supportive and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see this team show up. It'll be like, maybe my 32nd birthday. So I'm going to ask Auburn to give me a nice little gift, man. I'll take 3-2. I know the comments will be bumping with that one, but I'll take 3-2, man. I don't really care. I just want a dub, man. And I don't think it'll be pretty. We'll give our prediction Friday, obviously, but I'm kind of in that 17-13 type range. A turnover or 2 is going to decide it, and so we'll get to that Friday. But it's definitely going to be an ugly one. But a bunch of opportunities here for Auburn to get some momentum, man. And it wouldn't be bad, Blake, to get some momentum right here at the end of the season, because December 2nd's coming, and you're starting to see these big-time recruits. Our names are floating up in there, and KJ Bolden. I don't think we're out on KJ. Interesting stuff coming out about Cam Coleman today. His name just keeps on popping up, doesn't it? And I tell you what, Hugh Freeze is just not going to give up. And Blake, after Friday night, I gave my first ever 10-star rating.
Yeah,
I give a 10-star to Cam Coleman. I don't think 5 is enough. Speaking of commitments, Blake, Caleb Harris, 6'1" safety, 190 pounds. He's a 3-star at a Thompson High big-time program, obviously, that knows how to win in Alabaster, Alabama. A very physical kid, a kid that they say can play all over the field, and Ron Roberts has circled him as a guy that he wants to go get. I think you've kind of seen some movement a little bit in this class recently. I think that's because they knew that Caleb was coming. There's also a JUCO safety, I think, that will commit this week as well. Probably committed this weekend from what it sounds like, and he just wants to make a public announcement here pretty soon. So what are your thoughts on Caleb here, man? He appears to be a good player, very physical player.
First thing I want to say is anytime we get a kid from Thompson High School, I'm through the roof excited. I don't care 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, whatever, brother. Like I'm ecstatic. All right. But the thing about Caleb Harris, man, is first thing, he will hit you. All right. He will hit you. He is underrated. He very rarely lets the ball get behind him. All right, he's going to keep the top on that defense. He's good in the open field. Like I said, he will hit you. He is a for sure tackler. And I think the 3-star rating is too low, in my opinion. That's just this kid's physical, man. He's physical, and you got to be, as a safety coming into Auburn, man. You got to be looking at what a guy like Jalen Simpson's doing, right? And you got to think like, hey, I'm going to thrive in that role. And Caleb Harris is a big pickup, Dustin.
Yeah, I'm excited. And like you said, Thompson High, a program that knows how to win. And, man, opening up pipelines. We talk about with Phoenix City how it's the opposite of a pipeline, right?
Yeah.
And at some point we got to bust through on that one. But this is a good one here, man. You look at a guy like DJ Barber down there at Clay Chalkville, right? So opening up pipelines for these big states. Our last coach, Blake, he didn't know Thompson High existed. And we're winning these battles in the state of Alabama. Like I always said, you don't have to go to Portland, Oregon to get blue chips when you're the coach of Auburn, Alabama. They're in your backyard, man. They're right there. All you got to do is open the door and go outside. So excited for this one, man. Like you said, the 3-star is too low. And I don't see how we'll get into this here in just a second. But when we talk about coaches, we look at the offense, right? And people make the excuse for, I'm not trying to open up this whole conversation, but they make the excuse saying there's just not really the guys. Well, I don't know if we have a whole lot of the guys on defense. I know we got some guys in secondary. I know the defensive side is more loaded than the offensive side. I'm not trying to make that, but I'm just saying Ron Roberts has elevated the play of the defense. The defense, in my opinion, Blake, is playing above the talent level. So right now I have faith in Ron Roberts. I'm giving him an A on the job I've seen through 7 games. The only game I felt like the defense played bad, look who they played. So I'm excited. Ron Roberts circles a guy and says, I want this guy to be my star. And I've seen how he used Keontae, especially when Keontae was healthy. I've seen the way he used Donovan. And I love Donovan. He plays hard, but there's some things that he can and can't do. He's not a guy that Ron Roberts went and got from high school. So I'm excited to see these guys, the DeMarcus Riddicks, the guy that Ron Roberts says, that guy will fit my system and bring them in. And a DeMarcus Riddick, a DJ Barber, and now a Caleb Harris, in-state guys, Amon Lane. You can just go down the list of just guys in the state of Alabama that those other guys wanted. Maybe not. They went a Caleb Harris, maybe not a 3-star here, but this is a diamond in the rough. This guy's rated too low, a heavy hitter. Before we get over here and play some of these clips from the press conference, Blake, I wanted to say hello to all the subs. Our guy Charles popping in here and saying, guys, I'll watch this in the morning. Got to get up at 2 a.m. at work. I've shared it out already. Charles, we appreciate you, man. You sharing everything out, keeping that algorithm popping. And, yeah, man, tune in at 10 a.m., brother. Watch the replay. We appreciate you. And always, man, supporting us. Devin popping in saying, War Eagle fellas at my son's baseball game, but still tuning in. Devin, are they up to baseball? Or are you still on that T-ball? I know last year Devin had a good time at T-ball. Apparently that was a real competitive scene out there. Some parents were acting a fool, if I remember telling me right. War Eagle saying 4-1 in the next 5 weeks. What you think about this, Blake?
I'll be honest with you. If Auburn goes 4-0 these next couple weeks going into that Iron Bowl, I'm not so sure that's a loss. Yeah. I'm just saying, man, like, you never know in that game. You can throw records out. You can throw offensive performances out. You can throw how good Alabama's defense is. You can throw that out the window. Like, you just never know in the Iron Bowl. That's why it's the greatest rivalry in college football. So that game's a toss-up, man. I just watched Bryce Young and TJ Finley go to 4 overtimes. So, like, come on, dude. Right. You never know about that game.
Yeah, Ernest saying, War Dan, what's up, Ernest? Tyler Rick says, finally called a live show. Hey, we appreciate you, Tyler, catching in here 7 o'clock, brother. Every Tuesday we are here. Our guy James Barnett popping in. What's up, James? We appreciate you, brother. See if I make sure I didn't miss anybody, man. Devin, what you got? If we get 6 wins in a bowl game, I will be ecstatic, especially after how we look so far. Yeah, and I mean, Devin, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year, you go 6-6, I would have said, I really would have liked 7 or 8, but that's an improvement. And I know I knew what we were staring down the face of, and 6-6, and what's the recruiting class look like? That would be my question. And I think it's going to finish out just fine. And I know that the overall ranking might not end up being exactly what we want it to be. We'll see kind of how that goes, but I think it's really important to remember on that. We're leaving a couple scholarships open because we still have to utilize the portal. So our class ranking is not necessarily where I would look. I would look at position groups. Like I'm still very concerned about the offensive line, but impressed with wide receiver, right? So like I would look at groups and I would look at overall rating of the guys coming in. And no matter what service you look at, we're top 5 in terms of overall rating of the class. So the guys, their individual ratings on average. So I think we're bringing in the talent. And so if it's 6 wins and a bowl, this is my hope here, Devin. I don't want us to go 6-6, go to the Birmingham Bowl, and play some 10-2 AAC team that can throw the ball and score 40 points a game. I don't want that. I hate how they do that with the Birmingham. But sometimes you get lucky and get a Memphis, right? A Paxton List Memphis where you can take advantage of the obvious he can't throw the ball downfield or whatever. But like that Houston matchup, I'm sitting here going, weren't they 11-1 or 11-2? And we had lost 5 in a row. And I'm like, who's like?
I want Iowa. I think that'd be a great game.
That would be.
That'd be a great game.
Over under at 18.
Yeah.
All right. Before I get in here and play these Hugh clips, I got a couple more starred. Tyler says, James, one thing the recruits can say, fans are going to come watch them play. There's no SEC team that can fill a stadium like us with our record. I agree with this 100%, man. Even the top fan bases, even the LSUs, even the Alabamas and Tennessees of the world. Tennessee, they still did show out throughout their drought there. But, yeah, man, we are definitely top in the country. And I think at this point, we're 3 or 4 years into this really, really bad run of Auburn football, and we're still showing out. So I think we've proven that. And then James says, fellas, we just opened up the pipeline from Thompson. Hope so, brother. I want that QB.
Yeah, Seaborn. Was he a 9th grader this year?
9th grader, yeah. Got some time.
I don't know why we're not looking at Mary Montgomery's quarterback. That's just kids committed to South Alabama, bro. And I know we got Walker White and everything, and I'm big on Walker White, but that Jared Hollins kid at Mary Montgomery, I just don't know why we're not giving a look. I don't get it.
Tyler Riggs, I'm from Phoenix City. When Brian Harsin showed up late to the game last year, kind of had a bad taste in Nick's mouth, and also how he think we did his son. It's going to be hard to flip Cam, but I have hope. Yeah, man. On Blake's point about MGM's quarterback, kid is an absolute baller and a great kid, like a really, really good kid. So one of the best players I've seen this year in the state of Alabama. The best player I have seen is Cameron Coleman. And I'm going to keep screaming that from the mountaintops because I just haven't seen anything like what I saw Friday night in a very long time. And I went and saw them earlier this year, but they played at like Smith Station, who was just bad. They were up 58 to something at halftime, so I really didn't make judgment there. But after seeing what Cam did versus the number 3 team in the state, versus a good defense, versus good, capable defenders, and he just made them look like little boys, man. So, yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed. I'll just say this, dude. Hugh Freeze isn't going to stop.
Yep.
He will not stop calling Cam Coleman until he is legally has to stop calling Cam Coleman. Until that thing strikes 0, he is going to try his best to recruit that kid. And I think at some point, man, I think that pays off. Like at some point, if you're Cam Coleman, don't you just go, all right, man, fine. You know, at least that's how I hope it goes. Last comment here before I get in here and play the clip of Hugh at the presser. Kenny says, thanks for the great content, guys, from Arab, Alabama, living in Tampa. Living in Tampa now. Where is that at?
Arab?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Kenny, help us out, brother. Give us a city we would know. I'm from Bruton, so I ain't talking trash about small town Alabama. I just don't know where that one's at. Living in Tampa now, hard to find Auburn fans. Trust Hugh Freeze, foundation being built. Have to get his personality in championships coming. Hey, Kenny, look, bro. Why are you not at the Bolts game right now? I got the Bolts game on right now. Bolts are up 1-0 on the Carolina Hurricanes. Get out there, man, and support the Bolts, bro.
Oh, it's up by Gunnersville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, man. He's in get out there and catch you some Bucks game, man. Support my Bucks, support my Rays, support my Bolts while you're out there, Kenny. But I agree with you, man. Better days are on the way. All right. So the first clip I want to play, we got to get in here to a couple of clips from Hugh at the presser. We'll get more of your comments here in a little bit, guys. Appreciate all y'all for tuning in with us. Going to play the first clip where he was asked just about the play calling duties and the way this is all kind of going down. And this has been a big topic. Blake, me and you've kind of gone back and forth about what we thought was going on. And I think we kind of got some answers in this presser. Again, man, Hugh just comes out and will tell you what the deal is for the most part. There's got to be some coach speak, obviously. Would be kind of reckless to just go up there and talk and say whatever. But the most honest coach I've seen, and some interesting some interesting things here, especially at the end. And I'll just play the clip here, and we'll talk about it. But the question here is just about play calling duties, who's calling plays, how this is all looking on offense.
Monty is calling the plays. I obviously have input, and so I'm never one to sit here and say to place blame on coaches. It's a combination. It's all of us that I listen to the plan and evaluate it, but it's hard. It's harder for me than I thought with the verbiage and stuff to be real involved in every area. I paid a lot of attention to tight red zone. We've been pretty good in the red zone at times, but we're not getting there enough to find out if our plans are really good or not. But so it's a combination. I'll jump in from time to time, as do the O-line coaches and others. And but Monty is the play caller currently.
Blake, what'd you take away from that, buddy?
You pay attention to tight red zone, but we're not getting to the red zone enough. So maybe we should start paying attention what's going on, from 20 to 20. All right. Look, I'll be honest with you. I really think that Hugh is just – I hate saying that this year is like a wash, man. But I really just feel like he's trying to work some kinks out. I really feel like he is more just focused towards recruiting, Dustin. And he's just kind of, y'all have got this for now. I gotta get athletes, man. I gotta get athletes. And I hate going down that route because it kind of feels like we're saying that Auburn doesn't have athletes, right? But we don't have SEC guys at a lot of spots and the depth that it takes in the Southeastern Conference. And I really just feel like that is the route that he has taken to this point of, man, I'm more worried about recruiting right now than I am with this offense. I'll give my piece on it here and there. I'll jump in and say, hey, we're doing this wrong. We need to do this. But at the end of the day, I think he has tunnel vision on guys like Cam Coleman and the Perry Thompsons and the Ryan Williams. We got to find a quarterback also. You're bringing in a Walker White. You're going to have to hit the portal next year. I think he's trying to figure out what we do at offensive line and all of those things, Dustin, to where right now he might not have a whole lot of input. But that kind of caught me off guard when he said, I look in the red zone and I focus on the red zone, but we're not getting in the red zone enough. So maybe we need to look at what's going on inside the 20s, man. From 20 to 20, we need to look at that. All right, like moving the ball at LSU right before half, and we're rotating quarterbacks. Like what are we doing? And then he sits there the other night and says, well, us rotating quarterbacks isn't why we lost. There was a couple times where I was shaking my head going, hey, brother, what are we doing? But I really do, man. I really think that he is just solely focused on recruiting at this point, and he knows what it takes to win in the SEC and have a roster to compete, and we're just not there yet. We're there to compete and keep games close, but we're not there to compete as the gold standard like he always talks about.
So when he said at the end of it, I know I kind of talked about it today. When he said currently, did you take anything out of that? He said Monty is the play caller currently.
Yeah, I said this a couple of weeks ago. I don't think he's going to be the play caller next year. I don't.
So do you think that Hugh? I had to cut you off, but there was the piggyback off of that. Is do you think then that Hugh takes over and is more involved in do you think that he steps back and says, okay, this didn't work. It's too late now. I'm too far down this road now. Because he also said in a clip that we won't play, he said that it's harder for him to get in and change the verbiage than he thought, which made me think he's tried to get in and change it around a little bit. And it's just too much of a mess and too difficult. What do you think next year looks like if Montgomery is not retained?
Hugh Freeze. I think Hugh gets his hands in it. I think he gets involved. I think he will start to hit the ground running with this offense. I do, man. Like right now, like I said, I just feel like he has tunnel vision on one thing, and it's getting Auburn inside of that top 10 in recruiting. Because when we look at recruiting, man, historically, who are the teams that win national championships? You got to be inside that top 10 of recruiting to dance in that playoff. All right? That's what happens. If you're in that top 10, you're going to flirt. You're going to flirt with that playoff. And that's what I want to do right now, man. I want to get flirtatious. I want to it's opening up to 12 teams, Dustin.
Yeah.
Like I want us to get guys in here, man, elite playmakers. So when we do throw a back shoulder against Georgia down the sideline, you might have a Perry Thompson that reels that thing in. You know, and that's no shot to Malcolm Johnson Jr. I think dude he's a Blazer, he's a heck of a player, and I know he loves Auburn University. But you look at Georgia, all right? Man, they had A.D. Mitchell. Everybody wants to talk crap about Ladd McConkey. All right. He ate us up 2 years ago in Jordan-Hare. Ate us up. Buddy is an SEC receiver. Look at Alabama, the numerous receivers that they've put in the NFL. The running backs, Georgia's running backs. Those are the dudes that we don't have right now because we literally took multiple years off of recruiting and we decided to go with a coach who thought you could recruit 2 stars and 3 stars and turn them into 5 stars. Now, it happens once every blue moon, right? It happens. With like Carry On. Look at Carry On. All right.
McCreary.
Yeah, Roger McCreary. It happens every now and then, but you ain't winning no national championship like that. So that's where I'm at with it, man. I think in the future, and I saw a comment a while ago that I can't remember who said it, but will Philip Montgomery be fired during the year? And I do not think so. I think that would that's like pouring salt on an open wound, man. I don't think that would be a good look to fire him in the middle of the year. I think you just kind of go a different direction in the offseason and weigh your options out and see who's out there.
Yeah. So here's my concern with this whole thing. In year one, I want you to be establishing your offense. Mm-hmm. And I think at this point that's not happened. And I don't see how it can happen. I think it's a wash. I think that year one has been a failed experiment with Montgomery. And I think that Hugh will get in here in the offseason and change it up. And I think that's the right move. I'm just pointing out that it sucks. And that from the standpoint of you're basically learning new stuff again next year. Yep. Under that scenario. And Auburn is always new coordinators, new stuff. I can't remember the last time we were bringing back the same OC, doing the same thing. And I don't think that we will be this year. And again, I think it's the right move, but I was hopeful that year one would be kind of establishing the foundation. And instead of it looking like a year one, it's looking more and more like a year zero. And I just think that some of those mistakes are on Hugh Freeze and they could have been avoided. James Barnett asks, fellas, if Monty is not here next year, does Hugh Freeze pick a current staffer to be OC or does he go after someone who calls plays similar to him? Here's my thought on this, James. I think that if Hugh Freeze gambles on hiring somebody else to run the offense in the way that he did Montgomery this year and he misses, then it'll be the end of his tenure at Auburn. Will it be the end of his tenure at the end of next year? No. But I think that if he misses it, like if he tries to go that route and have somebody else run his offense again and it doesn't work again, then he's probably setting himself up to not be the Auburn coach for very long because then you're talking about another failed experiment. You'd be going into year 3 trying to hire another guy, still not having the offense established. I think the best move for Hugh Freeze under this scenario, James, is, like Blake said, to get his hands in there this offseason. I've kind of said the last couple of weeks, maybe he just looked at it and said, this job, there's so much to do right now as Auburn's head coach. I'm going to trust a vet like Philip Montgomery. I'm going to trust a vet like Ron Roberts to run my offense and to run my defense. And the Ron Roberts one has worked, and the Philip Montgomery one has not. And like I said, I think that Hughes kind of got in there and tried to mess and tinker with it a little bit. That's why you've heard Blake say he thinks that that one quarterback is favored by one coach and one quarterback is favored by the other.
Mm-hmm.
And comes out this week, Blake, and Hugh basically said, I was calling all the plays for Robbie in the 13 package. And then there was also some reports, and I didn't know this because I was at the game, but I guess they were talking on the broadcast saying that as well, that Hugh is basically calling the plays for Robbie and that Montgomery is calling the plays for Thorne. And that's dysfunctional as hell, man. That's not gonna work. I mean, so you're changing out quarterbacks, and then who you just trying to think of how that even works. It gives me a headache because, all right, so we're changing them out. Okay, so now it's my turn to call plays, and that would explain some of the mess we've seen on these 3rd and 1s when we change quarterbacks and not getting to play in time or having too many guys. Because not only are you trying to change quarterbacks, but now the play caller's changing. It's man, I don't like that at all, Blake.
The cadence is changing. That's why you see fall starts. It's just too much, man. It's on and off the field. That's the reason you saw the illegal substitution the other night. It's just too much, man. And I always felt like there was something going on with one guy liked Peyton, another guy liked Robbie. I didn't know who, but I just kind of felt like, I always told you and the guys at the War Report, I said, I just feel like they were going to stick with Peyton until it all come crumbling down. And then I finally think Hugh just kind of said, hey, man, like this thing has come crumbling down. All right. Like that game against LSU, like we got to start giving Robbie like an increased role. And you see it against Ole Miss. He played the most snaps he's played all year, right? And it just looked dysfunctional. 2 quarterback system's never going to work, man. And I know I said earlier in the year that Florida, back when they had Leak and Tebow in 06. But if you really go back and watch that season, man, they only brought Tebow in when they were inside the 5 to 10-yard line. That's it. Like he might have got a play or 2 inside the 5 or 10. Like they weren't bringing Tebow in when they were at the 35 or anything like that, unless it was a 4th and inches, and they were going to QB sneak it or something. But it's not going to work. It's not.
Yeah, Devin, to your point about getting the guys, Blake, she says, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, Hugh is the coach of this team, and it's kind of an insult to these guys who decided to come back and play for him. Yeah, Blake, I mean, or Devin, this is kind of why I've been so hard on Hugh, and I'll continue to say it. Your resume starts first UMass. Yep. So that's what I'm going to – I'm not a big fan of that whole week 0 or year 0 theory. This is year 1. And if Ron Roberts has been able to still find a ways, despite the deficiencies on the defense, to produce a successful defense, then Hugh Freeze should find some ways to produce an offense at Auburn that is not as all-time bad. I could deal with bad offense here, but all-time bad, less yards than 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm kind of with you in the sense, Devin, that I'm not a big fan of some of the messaging about that Hugh has said for the current players on the team, and I know that they don't like it. I mean, they've told people like they don't like it type thing, and so this is a very important 4 weeks, like me and Blake said at the beginning. You beat Mississippi State, you go on the road and you beat Arkansas, and all of a sudden you've won 2 SEC games and you're back to 5-4, mm-hmm. and all this kind of stuff kind of starts to go away. And all of a sudden the players love Hugh. And I mean, that's just the way it works. You got to find a way to win a damn football game. All these conversations that we're having are because you're not winning. There's a way to make them all go away. But yeah, Devin, this is a fine line because as Devin, me and you've had these discussions going back to Harsin. you know that I value recruiting a lot. So when I look at this roster, I say there's a freaking ceiling. And that Hugh is, and there's some deficiencies that he's really having to work with, and he's just patched together what he could out of the portal at some positions. But at the same time, there have been some things that have been mismanaged from on the field, from messaging and all that I've not been a big fan of. And we all are acknowledging that the Philip Montgomery thing has failed. Well, that falls on Hugh Freeze. That's his hire. He's the head coach. And like I said, so he better in this offseason, it'll be crucial for him in his tenure at Auburn to figure out what direction this offense is going.
I feel like we've missed in a couple of portal additions as well. I'm not trying to down anybody, but I feel like Avery Jones was a miss. Connor Lew, it's Connor Lew time from here on out the rest of the season. I think you can build something there. I just think it's in Auburn's best interest to go with Connor Lew the rest of the way. That's a guy that's going to be here for 3 more years, Dustin. Well, he could be here for 2 more and then possibly get drafted. But I say 3.
Yeah, center.
Yeah, center for sure. And I think you're looking, like we talked about, the tunnel vision with Hugh. You're looking at big picture, man. So, like, instead of the Shane Hooks experiment and the Jair Shorter experiment, it's time for these younger guys to get in here. All right. It's time for the younger guys to get reps on offense. Let's try to get this thing clicking, man.
Yeah, I mean, so like, and you to a guy that you've been high on. Let's not waste any more time on some of these guys that are out of eligibility in 5 games. Let's see what Caleb Burton has. Throw Caleb Burton the damn football, man. Let's see what he's got. There's no point in wasting any more time on Peyton Thorne. He's not the future of Auburn football. You might as well see what Robbie Ashford's got. Give him the offense and find out what it is.
I'll tell you this, Dustin. So I messaged a guy that I talked to from Ohio State. He is on the beat at Ohio State. All right. And I just asked a simple question like, hey, man, Caleb Burton, what's up? He said, no idea why he's not playing. And then all of a sudden, Hugh comes out and says, hey, this guy, he's earned his stripes, right? Like this guy, he's earned it. He's earned it. Because I predicted, 30 grabs, like dude comes from Ohio State. He's an elite route runner. They said that he had some things to clean up and work on and everything. But from what I heard, I was like, hey, dude's a stud, man. And I think he's slowly getting onto the field.
Yeah.
And hey, he's catching the football when it's thrown to him. So, hey, let's keep going to him. Like I want to see more. I want to see more, man. I don't want to see Jay Fair transfer out of here. I don't want to see those guys leave us when I think next year could be special when you're bringing in the guys that are going to be in this 24 class. So it's sometimes it's just aggravating, Dustin. It's aggravating, man.
For sure. I'm going to go ahead and play this next clip. So on this one, Hugh was asked about just basically the question was kind of worded as, hey, we know it's not going that well on the field. You feel like you're having some success in recruiting, but 7 games into year 1, how do you think the culture is being established? Kind of the things that we don't see behind the scenes. And here was Hugh's answer to that.
Yeah, the things I see behind the scene that you don't have the privilege of seeing, I think, is establishing the culture. And one of those is playing hard. I think we've done that except for maybe 1 game up to the standard that we expect. Creating a standard of accountability in little things, because I really believe that long-term for Auburn to be where we want it to be, that the accountability of those little things you can't slide on those. And I think that's kind of maybe when I got here is something that they felt like they could, and I see that getting better each week. And I'm a firm believer that if you think that you can be 5 minutes late to a class or to a tutoring, or if the chow hall is optional but it's really not optional, but it is to you, I'm a firm believer that that's the same things that can happen on a Saturday when you call cover 2 and I may not play cover 2 this time. And at the beginning, this is.
So that was Hugh Freeze, and talking about the culture. And Blake, me and you know this. We hear the stories, a lot of things that we can't say. Behind the scenes, I mean, if you've ever seen South Park, Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo, right? I mean, just an absolute shit show. Okay, poop dancing on a stage.
Yeah,
terrible. Guys, like he said, late for class, man, late for meetings. If I told y'all some of the names that were late for some of the stuff this offseason, you would be pissed. You'd be like, that guy was late for a workout. Like, what? A guy that knows he's a starter, that knows we're depending on him. The culture's bad, man. It's bad. And that you don't snap your fingers. And when you flip over a roster that way, when you bring in all those guys from the portal, man, there's still going to be some bad eggs. There's still going to be, it's just, you can't change it all right now. I do feel like it's going, I do feel like it's getting fixed. I do feel like it's going in the right direction. And that's hard to see in the midst of a 4-game SEC losing streak. And then the Cal game feels like a loss. But, this is important. And I know this is corny, but there's a reason why I wanted to play this clip, because we're 7 games in. And I've only seen Auburn give up one time. And I don't even know if you consider LSU giving up if they never got off the bus. So it just didn't even show up that night for whatever reason. There's no excuse for it. But that does happen sometimes. And I do think that Hugh's telling the truth. I agree with him on that. I think that it is changing. And I think that that's just one of them things, man. It just takes time. Florida State, go read some stories about what was going on in that Willie Taggart tenure, okay? The culture was poisoned. It was a toxic, losing culture. And you can't just come in there and snap your fingers and make it work. What Gus Malzahn did on the field was fantastic in his first year. But the culture wasn't changed immediately, and that's why you ultimately saw the program go back to an 8-5 level, because Gus Malzahn was setting a culture of mediocrity being okay, right? Yep. 6-4 is a solid season. Well, we practice well. Mediocrity. Okay, we played them close. Y'all know the stuff he said. Yep. Mediocrity, being okay with being 8-4 every year, and Hugh's not with that. Hugh is he is going to go for national title, or he's going to bust. He feels like the path that he's on, like Blake talked about, going all in on recruiting, is because he feels like that's the path for him to get back to the national championship, or get Auburn to the national title. And I think that Hugh Freeze is one of the most competitive guys in the game, which is why I'm a little baffled by some of the stuff that's been going on still being allowed to go on. I'm surprised Philip Montgomery is still calling plays, but I also believe Hugh when he says the verbiage. I think that I don't know this, but I'm not sure if he didn't try to kind of get in there in the bye week and then say, this is just too much. And I don't know if maybe Robbie starting the game and seeing more Robbie Saturday night than we have any other game this year. Maybe I'm wrong on that snap count wise, but it seemed to me like that there was more Robbie throughout the game, right? Like it wasn't just situation. It was just, I never knew who was going to be the quarterback Saturday. I'm not saying that's a good thing. The point I'm making is it seemed to me like if Hugh's calling plays for Robbie, he's trying to ease his stuff in there. But I don't think he can. I think it's too far down the road of you have the spring, you had the fall practices, you had the whole summer of getting accustomed to studying Philip Montgomery's verbiage, studying Montgomery's system. So I just don't know if he can just change it at this point. But again, I think that in the offseason, that'll really be the crucial time for all that. But I think, Blake, that the culture, man, bringing in the guys like you talked about, the guys that want to be at Auburn, the guys like a Caleb Harris coming from Thompson that know how to win, a guy like Amon Lane who is growing up an Auburn fan and wants to be at Auburn, that understands what it takes to be at Auburn. Make no mistake about it, man. You need a bunch of Alabama kids for Auburn to be successful. Not only from a talent standpoint, but you need kids that get it. You need kids that understand weeks before the Iron Bowl what that game means. Kids that you don't have to tell what it means. They know. They grew up in it. They know what it is. it's crucial for us to start getting those kids again. And Hugh knows that. That's why he's after them so hard. That's why you see him so hard after a guy like Alvin Henderson. And I trust Hugh's evaluation in getting these talent and getting these guys. And I'll use the FSU point one more time, Blake, before I get your thoughts on it. I just think that's a good one as far as the culture goes, because Florida State was an absolute mess. And Mike came in there, and it wasn't the first year was choppy. And again, I'm not a fan of some of the stuff I've seen on the field, but I do think that behind the scenes, Auburn is headed in the right direction. And it's not something that we can look at a stat sheet and point to. And it's not something that changes overnight. And I'm as impatient as anybody, but I think that part of the foundation and that part of Hugh Freeze's job, the cultural fit part, I do think is headed in the right way.
Yeah, Dustin, and you talk about FSU and Mike Norvell, right? And I would love to go back and pull up message boards in Mike Norvell year one, year two. They were wanting to fire Mike Norvell. They were saying, hey, this guy, he's not it. All right. We're just going to be a mediocre program. And now look at Florida State. Like we were talking about the other night. Man, have you seen those receivers they got? The Johnny Wilson kid, come on, man. Keon Coleman, like they're elite, man. And their defense, they got a two-headed monster in the backfield. Dude's Cruton. All right. He's Cruton. And he's turned that program around. Now, I look over here at Hugh Freeze. One player really sticks out to me, man, of where this program is headed. And it's my favorite player, and that's Jalen Simpson. He was asked today what an Instagram post meant, and he was talking about plankton, all right? Always chasing the potion, all right? You see plankton always chasing the potion. And he said, that is my mindset. I'm always trying to chase that potion to be better than what I was yesterday, to be better than what I was last week, right?
Yeah.
I want to be the best I can. And you're also wanting to feed that into your teammates, into your locker room, that even though we're 3-4 and we're on a 4-game losing streak, we haven't won a game in a month. You want to feed that, hey, there's potential to save this season. Like I told you weeks ago, Dustin, if things got bad, we can make this right. And these guys can be remembered for laying the groundwork at Auburn. This team still has a purpose, man. This team still has a shot in 10 to 20 years from now. People can look back and say, hey, they didn't win nothing, but they laid the groundwork. They were the guys that struggled to get to 6-6, but people started turning heads, and Josh Pate's talking about you on his show and being Pate State material and turning a 3-4 season around and possibly getting to 7 wins and going to a bowl game and possibly winning a bowl game. And, there's still hope in this season. And that is why I look at Jalen, man. He's played for 3 head coaches at Auburn.
All right.
Like that right there, bro could have easily given up by now. Easily. You've played for 3 head coaches. Jalen Simpson could have easily hit the transfer portal and said, man, Auburn is dysfunctional. I don't want to be here. I'm bouncing. I'm going to somewhere where I can compete, where I can go out to the Pac-12 and be a stud out there.
The best defender out there, boy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can be a stud out there, he's a stud here, don't get me wrong, but he was shine out there, and he stuck with Auburn. And that right there tells me that when you got a guy like that, he's bleeding on these dudes, man. He's rubbing off on them, and he's showing his passion for Auburn. And that's why I was so high on Simp, man. Is just because he had some trouble in man coverage when he was at corner. But he went to safety and he turned his career around, I think he's that guy, Dustin. I think he's that guy. And I look at the rest of this football team, and y'all, when I look at what's going on in the quarterback room, all right, I look at Robbie Ashford, Dustin. When I see Robbie make a quote and he says, "We got to show up to work, even when times are rough. We got to clock in. We got to put the sweat in." All right. This is how it's went, but there's still time to salvage things. We just got to show up and put the work in. That right there tells me that I think this locker room hasn't given up, and I think they're still together. There could be some division of who wants who at quarterback, but I think they're ultimately they still see a goal and they still want to win for Auburn. Not you're not going to see a whole lot of me stuff. I think you want to see these dudes win for Auburn, Dustin.
Let me just about a hypothetical scenario. Would you feel good about this locker room if during the bye week somebody was half-assing during practice and somebody else was so upset about it that he put them things on them?
Yeah.
Would that make you feel good about the locker room?
Yeah, it does.
Make me feel damn good about it.
Yeah, it does. It gets me fired up, actually. I think that's what leaders do. That's what leaders do. Bro, and when I say this, Dustin, is I said it about Robbie, and I made a tweet, and I said, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose with somebody who bleeds orange and blue.
Yeah.
And these dudes bleed orange and blue. They know they're not going to the playoff. They know they're not going to Atlanta to play in the SEC championship. They know they can't win a national championship. And I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, basketball season's over. Nothing else to play for. No, there is something to play for. There's a Music City Bowl. There's whatever bowl, a Liberty Bowl or whatever. Yeah, I want to play for the extra practices. Yeah. I do. It means a lot. And these dudes, they bleed orange and blue. I love it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that we can look back on guys like Marcus Harris. We can look back on guys like Simp and in the future and say, hey, man, you guys helped turn this thing around. There might not be a number. There might not be a statistic that we can point to and say that's what Jalen Simpson did or that's what Marcus Harris did. But we'll remember that, hey, just like I'll never forget what Derek Hall and Caleb did for us last year.
Yep.
Playing 85, 90% of the reps with no help in a lost season. I'll forever be grateful to Will Friend for the way that he still showed up to work those final month and did the work. So, yeah, man, for those guys, like you said, they love Auburn. We can trust them. And, it fires me up. And you're ready for basketball season? For people that are saying that, I'm ready for basketball season. I cannot wait for baseball season, 100%. Sure. But these next 4 weeks, really 5, but the ones that we look at and circle and say Auburn can win these games for sure. Very crucial for the future of Auburn football, in my opinion. If it doesn't go right and we don't make a bowl and we split these two, go 2-2 or whatever, it's not the end of the world. You can still get it right in the offseason. But I think it would go a long way, man, definitely 4-0, but 3-1 in this thing, getting that bowl game, maybe winning that thing and having a winning record for Auburn football. Boy, wouldn't that be something? I'm asking for a whole lot here. I know it. But so yeah, but I do think that the culture part, Blake, is headed in the right direction. I really do.
Absolutely.
Before we get in here and get everybody's final comments, man, I did want to. We kind of touched on this here. Is Blake kind of made the case of why this is a must-win, but I did want to kind of get you guys' thoughts on this weekend's game, just how important this is for Auburn. But real quick, guys, you already know we get new subs. Blake, we're up to what 1,100. Reaching a little benchmark. So shout out to everybody, man, that's new to the show. And I continue. People were asking me this weekend in Auburn. They ask me in the DMs all the time, how can you help support? We got the membership option open there. So you can you got to go on your desktop. But go on your desktop, hit the memberships. We got 2 levels, the JV and the varsity. Blake, I couldn't find our overlay there to pull up for the people, but we got 2 levels, JV and varsity, and you can sign up for those. Tons of exclusive content coming out for you guys. Hope that you guys enjoyed the Around the Plains podcast that dropped the other day. Taking a look at Aiden Holloway balling out, Blake. Taking a look at that baseball team looking nice. We'll continue to drop that. The recruiting pod will drop in the next 48 hours. Just kind of depends on how my work schedule works out. But the next day or two here, if they don't work me 12 to 14 hours tomorrow or Thursday, I'll get in and bang that out for you guys. Already got it uploaded and ready to go. Just got to get the time to record it. Also, you can go over to the warreportshop.com, go to the merch section, man, grab you one of these level up t-shirts of tempo style. Yes, sir. Them things look good. So go over there and do that. Helps us out a ton. And hey, man, if you're struggling right now, I get it. We got some people running this country that aren't doing the best. And times are tough. So just liking the video, subscribing to the channel is more than enough, man. We just appreciate you guys rocking with us. We really do. Blake, at 3-4, like you kind of alluded to, it's kind of ties into what you were saying. People are saying it's a wash, it's done, forget it, basketball's coming, blah, blah, blah. Man, I think this is a must win. I don't think you can lose to freaking Mississippi State. I don't think that you can lose to both Mississippi schools at home in back-to-back weekends. And like I just said, this is a crucial game for Auburn football. Like, we need to win this one and go on a little streak and get this negative energy, man, this bad momentum. Let's get it turned around. And I saw somebody, Blake, say, this is why I wanted to ask this question tonight, because I saw somebody on Twitter today say, there's really no, is Auburn really to the point we're about to start celebrating beating Mississippi State and Vanderbilt? We're 2-12 or 2-10 dating back to last year in the SEC. I'm partying like it's 2004 if we win Saturday. I'm bugging hard if we win at Vanderbilt. And I find it weird that I have to explain that.
Are we celebrating beating Mississippi State? Bro, I celebrate when we beat anybody. Like, what are we talking about? Oh, a dub is a dub. Like, period. Oh, like, I'm celebrating when we beat UMass by 50.
Right.
Like, I don't care. And I don't care if we go out and we beat Mississippi State 6-3 Saturday. I'm throwing a party. I'm getting on here. I'm booging. I'll have streamers. I'll have the sunshades on. I'll be booging. I'll be going through the roof, bro. I celebrate every win. Period.
Yeah, for sure. Connie getting here. Hey, Connie, how you doing? Connie says, yes, we always thought. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, you only get 12 of them. You get 12 a year. Blake, we talked for months about football, and we're over halfway done with the season. Yep. I'm going to celebrate a victory, dude.
You know what Hugh said? Hugh said football's hard. Winning's hard. Life is hard. Celebrate when you get a victory in life, football. You celebrate those things, bro. I don't care if you're playing South Alabama or New Mexico State or whoever. You celebrate the victory.
For sure. Ernest Vaughn says, until basketball loses a game and everyone gets, the sky is falling again. Gotta love fans. Yeah, dude, listen, man. So this is so funny. Last year during basketball, and obviously we've had tremendous growth since then. So a lot of these subs are new. A lot of you guys aren't with us last year during basketball. Some of our loyals like Tanner and Devin, some of our day ones, they'll know. I said all year during basketball that like the whole year Auburn was going to lose 8 to 9 games, maybe even 10, and then win a game in the tournament. And then just watched as we lost these games, watched everybody freak out. And I had to come on every post game and be like, yeah, we're a 20-10 basketball team that's going to make the tournament and maybe win a game. If we get lucky, win 2 in there and we'll get bounced. It is what it is. And that's not a bad season. Yeah, Ernest, our fan base is very, very new to basketball. They think that 20-10 is the worst season ever, or that 21-9, oh my God. And they think that if you say anything like, hey, man, I don't think that last second shot was the right play, then that means you want Bruce Pearl fired and you don't know ball. So, yeah, very interesting times. I love our fans when it comes to basketball, for sure. All right, let's see. My computer doing some goofy stuff. James popping in here. We're about to get out of here, guys. Says, I listened to players today. PT definitely stood out. He appeared very unhappy. I would imagine he is. And here's the question I have, James. One, he really only has himself to. Well, I can't say that, but he needs to look in the mirror because, brother, like, I'm not necessarily on this boat that like. Well, I'll just say this. I don't think we have the guys in the wide receiver room, but I do see that they're wide open a lot. I'm not saying that they're the best. I'm not, you know what I mean? We got to go get the Perrys and the Bryces and the King. We got to go get those boys. But they're open, Blake, and somebody ain't seeing them.
Jay Fair was wide open at A&M. That was a walk-in backpedal touchdown, bro. That changes the whole. That changes the whole look of that football game. If you make that throw, he walks in, and you missed him. So I don't know. Aggravating.
For sure. Ernest says, but I do love basketball more than football, and I agree. People in Alabama, the state, and the whole. Yeah, for sure. Go. If you ever want to see a juvenile basketball opinion, go follow Nate Goetz over there on Twitter. That guy right there, man. He doesn't even understand what dribbling the ball means. James says he's with me 1,000% for sure. All right, guys, get your final comments in here. If you have not, man, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We will be back with you guys Friday at 10 a.m. to make our picks for the week for the SEC. We will preview this Mississippi State matchup. We'll take a look into the numbers. I bet that this is going to be a barn burner, baby. Woo! Wait.
42-38. 42-38.
Hey, it would be super Auburn though.
Would be true.
Just the goofiest thing you can imagine. But yeah, no, I think what's the number, Blake? I think 23 wins this game.
Let me look at the over/under real quick.
I was saying, like, what do you think the number is?
Oh.
I'm interested in that. But what number gets the win?
I think Auburn's got to score. Yeah, 24 to 28 points, man. Like you said, 23, somewhere around in there. Because I don't think Mississippi State's offense is going to move the ball against us. I'm not worried about that. The over/under is 43.5. So they don't think it's going to be a lot of scoring.
I'm still taking the under on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
You got anything before we get out of here, buddy?
Don't give up on the team, man. Don't give up on the team. Show up Saturday. Drowned out the Mississippi State fans. Get loud for this team. Believe in this team because a win Saturday goes a long way. Believe in these seniors, like I said, man. These dudes that have been through the trenches like a simp. A Nehemiah who is injured and trying to get on the field for his brothers and his team, man. That stuff goes a long way, man. That stuff goes a long way. So don't give up on these dudes. I know 3-4 looks bad, but it's not the end of the world, man. Like there's opportunities, and Coach Hugh Freeze keeps saying that there's opportunities. Just get to that bowl game, and it starts Saturday, Dustin.
3-4 looks bad. 6-4 looks a whole lot better.
That's a fact.
And that's definitely possible. But they're not going to do it without our support. Prince says if we get 24 to 28 every game, we got a good chance to win out. For sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you told me you can get 24 to 28 points in the Iron Bowl, I'd say, well, we're in that ball game.
Yep.
So, yeah, I agree with this 100%. It's just, can we find a way to score? We can find 24 under the right circumstances versus the right opponent at home. I just don't know road-wise if we're going to be able to find that. And even looking at Vanderbilt and Arkansas, I have the Cal game in the back of my mind.
We should be able to run the ball on Vandy. We should be able to run the football on Vandy.
Should have been able to run the ball on LSU.
That's true.
Teresa says 21-17 Auburn. Prince, man. Prince, hey, pass that thing over here, buddy. I need a puff. Pass that thing over here. Your boy wants some of that. I love it. War Damn Eagle Prince. I'm going to end on this one. Prince says Auburn 31-10. Prince, I'm not going to argue with you, baby. I love it. War Damn Eagle from our guy Prince. We will be back Friday at 10 a.m. Y'all already know we're out. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. And we will see y'all soon. We're out of here, baby.
War Damn Eagle, baby.